How's it going, Summoners? My name is Tia, and in this video, I'm running you through all of the upcoming changes for patch 11.7. Remember though that these changes are tentative. We typically see all or almost all of them make it through, but they're not guaranteed. There are a ton of exciting ones though, so hit that sub button and let's get into it. I am super excited for the upcoming skins. While I'm not certain whether or not they'll launch next patch, the Space Groove skin line is just around the corner. Space Groove Nunu, Nasus, Rumble Lux, Samira, Blitzcrank Lulu, and Lulu Prestige should be available very soon. These are anticipated skins that look amazing. I am so stoked. But next up, let's run through some balance changes. We'll start with item nerfs first. Essence Reaver is an item Riot is working on for next patch. Although it's not a meta item everyone builds, champions who can use it are finding too much power by purchasing it. Next patch, the price will be reduced by 100 at the cost of 10 AD. A cheaper price point is nice, but the value on the item has gone down quite a bit as a result. Next up is Lord Dominic's Regards. The cost is going up by 100 and the AD down by 5. Currently, Lord Dominic's Regards is a cheap purchase that provides a great stat line for a bunch of different champions. It's supposed to be a late game item, so now that it's had its price increased and stats lowered a bit, it should be a more situational purchase than before. To conclude item nerfs, we have Everfrost. Recent patches have shown us that Everfrost was indeed not underpowered, simply underpurchased. Now that it's become rather mainstream to build one, Riot has decided they can cut back on its power. The active damage has been reduced from 125 plus 35% AP to 100 plus 30% AP, and the cooldown increased from 20 to 30 seconds. By the way, guys, I want to let you know that you can get 20% off a subscription on our website, ProGuides.com. If you're serious about improving, check it out and use the code RANKUP2021. Next, we'll talk about item buffs. Like our analysts mentioned in their initial thoughts, Zerilda's Grudge has been underperforming heavily because of its price tag. It can be rather difficult to include it in a build when you're short on cash, and to address this, the price is being reduced from $3,400 to $3,200 next patch. Lord Dominic's has also received a nerf, meaning that more AD assassins will likely use Zerilda's as a new option. Trinity Force is receiving some big changes next patch as well. The AD is going up from 25 to 30, AS down from 35 to 30, but the biggest change will be that the passive will now stack on turrets. Also, the mythic passive stat is being changed from 10% attack speed to 3 AD, 3 movement speed, and 3 ability haste. Talk about well-rounded. Now that you can stack Trinity Force up on turrets, split pushers are going to apply a lot more pressure than before. Increased damage obviously means they'll be able to take down turrets faster, and you won't be able to ignore a fed fighter looking to 1v9 split push to win games. Finally, we have one item adjustment. Turbo Chem Tank has been a very powerful purchase ever since it was buffed several patches ago. Some of the strongest champions in the meta abuse this item for the immense movement speed it provides, as it essentially allows them to engage a fight from any distance. Next patch, the bonus movement speed is going down from 75 to 60%, and the slow increased from 40 to 50%. This means that it'll still be just as strong against nearby enemies, but the overall engage power it provides will be lower than before. With the items out of the way, let's run through champion balance. First up, we'll talk about the top lane with a quick disclaimer. There's a good chance this specific change might not make it through. We will, however, likely see it implemented very soon. Yorick mains have been begging for buffs, and he's finally set to receive some. His Mistwalker will draw turret aggro when attacking, and enemy champions marked by his E will awaken more Mistwalkers from nearby graves. Mistwalkers will also deal an attack when they leap after Yorick lands his E. Finally, turrets will prioritize Yorick's Maiden of the Mist last. These are huge quality of life buffs, and if they make it through, I expect his win rates to shoot up significantly. With Yorick's existence finally acknowledged, I also have our question of the day. Which champion still needs a buff? Guys, are we just gonna forget about Tahm Kench? He really needs one. I haven't seen that guy in a hot second. I do remember that there was a mini rework in progress, but a little buff for the time being definitely would not hurt the Kench. We must unbench him. But that's enough hot takes from Tia. Let me know your answers in the comments down below. Now back to the top lane. Mordekaiser has been underperforming a bit, and thus he's getting buffed. His Q's isolation bonus damage is going up from 30 to 50% to 40 to 60%. A very straightforward buff, but this should help Mordekaiser quite a bit, considering that fighters are receiving a huge buff to their mythic item. Next up, let's run through the jungle. As Udyr has been a dominant pick for far too long, he's receiving yet another nerf. I think the change to Turbo Chem Tank is already going to do some damage to him. However, Riot is taking it a step further and giving a direct nerf as well. His base AD is going to be reduced from 66 to 64 next patch. He'll likely drop a tier next patch as a result of these nerfs. My guess is he'll still be pretty good, but won't be as nearly as OP as before, thank goodness. Hecarim is in a similar situation. The nerf to Turbo Chem Tank will definitely do some damage. On top of this, his E's maximum movement speed is going down from 75 to 65%. Another jungle nerf is going to be for Ivern. He's actually been a bit too strong recently. While he may not be popular, he's seen enough play over the past few patches to illustrate that he's definitely powerful. His E's damage will be reduced from 70 to 170 to 70 to 150. Now moving on to a buff, we've got Kindred. A good amount of the player base struggles to find success with her, and Riot is looking to fix this by making her stronger. Her Q's bonus AD ratio is going up from 65 to 75%, while her E's cooldown is being reduced from 18 to 14 to 16 to 12 seconds. These are very nice buffs, and I think with a reduced cooldown on E, Kindred is going to be a lot harder to escape from. Finally, we've got some love for Amumu. Season 11 has had its ups and downs for him. After an incredible start during the preseason, Amumu saw several nerfs, and while Riot has been trying to give him some power back, he's still underperforming heavily. Next patch, expect to see Amumu's Q-based mana cost reduced from 50 to 70 to 30 to 50, and his E's cooldown decreased from 10 to 6 seconds to 9 to 5 seconds. That's it for the jungle changes, so let's talk about the mid lane next. In the mid lane, Yasuo is set to receive a buff. I know a bunch of you are groaning after hearing that, and honestly, I am too, but the changes to Immortal Shield Bow did make him much weaker this patch. To compensate, his AD per level is going up from 2.2 to 3. Players who manage to make it to the late game will be rewarded for their troubles. Lissandra is also getting a nice little buff to help her out. As she's rather unpopular right now, a small buff should hopefully draw some attention towards her. Lissandra's Q damage is going up from 70 to 190 to 80 to 200. A flat 10 damage increase should help Lissandra out, especially in the early game. We haven't seen too many changes just yet. In fact, the majority of the changes this coming patch are for my favorite lane, the bottom lane. Let's get into it. It was bound to come eventually, but yes, Kai'Sa is getting another nerf. Her ultimate's cooldown is going up from 110 to 70 seconds to 130 to 70 seconds. It could be a lot worse, there's no doubt. However, 20 more seconds on her level 1 ultimate is going to make Kai'Sa a bit riskier to pick. When she falls behind early, players on the enemy team should have an easier time exploiting this increased cooldown. Another 20 seconds tacked on also means that you won't be in as much danger when playing against a Kai'Sa that's winning the lane. Tristana has been recently popping off hard in solo queue. Players across all ranks have been finding a ton of success with her, and she's no longer a sleeper pick, but a well-recognized S tier 1. Her base AD is going down from 61 to 59. The loss of base AD is huge, especially considering that Tristana is a rather snowbally champion. A little less AD early on can be the difference between a winning and losing fight. Ashe is surprisingly up for a buff, in contrast. Her W's damage is going up from 20 to 80 to 30 to 90. 10 more damage is a huge early game buff. With her high range, Ashe is almost guaranteed several chances to poke at her enemies with it. That 10 damage can definitely add up over 3 or 4 casts. 40 more damage before the first recall, for example, can create a lot more lane pressure than before. Finally, Varus is getting another buff. More buffs coming his way. It's only a matter of time before he manages to get himself out of the gutter. His AD per level is going up from 3 to 3.4. This is a pretty big buff actually, but it's well merited as his win rate still sits around 48%. That's it for bot laners, so let's wrap it up with supports. The first support we'll talk about is Rell. Her E stun duration is going down from 0.75 to 0.5 seconds. Rell is pretty strong because she's well-rounded. With a shorter duration on her stun, she'll unfortunately have less kill pressure and teamfight utility. The stun being reduced to only a half second is definitely going to hurt, but at the end of the day, this isn't the biggest nerf. Thresh has been arguably the strongest support for almost the entire season. I'm surprised that Riot's approach to this is that they've decided to nerf his Lantern of all things. His W shield is going down from 60 to 220 to 60 to 180. While it's nice he can provide a shield, this isn't what Thresh is really known for. The strongest part about his W is the fact that he can either bring a teammate with him or get them out of sticky situations. Even after this nerf, Thresh will still be a dominant support. Alistar is also up for a nerf. He's seen a surge in popularity over the past few patches. What Riot is targeting next patch is his damage. Actually, quite a few nerfs are coming Alistar's way. His Q's damage is going down from 60 to 240 to 60 to 220, and his E's damage on attack is going down from 35 to 290 to 20 to 275. Okay guys, this is a joke, but I'm guessing someone on the balance team is sick of losing 1v1s as a marksman against the big cow. Not gonna lie though, it's pretty discouraging to lose a 1v1 against a support, but as a support main, it does feel pretty good to win those 1v1s. The final support change we expect to see is a buff to Braum. While the last buff was nice, it didn't have enough of an effect. Next up, his E's cooldown is going down from 18 to 10 seconds to 16 to 8 seconds. Also, his R's maximum knock-up duration is going up from 1 to 1.5 seconds to 1 to 2 seconds. Braum's E is definitely his strongest ability. Being able to block damage for allies is invaluable, and with the cooldown reduced to only 8 at max rank, Braum will become a much more impactful mid to late game support. Throw in some ability haste and he'll be able to use it several times in a single fight. And that'll wrap up our upcoming changes for patch 11.7. Thank you all so much for watching, I really appreciate it. And if you're looking for others to vent to about the nerfs to your favorite champs, then check out our Discord server in the description below. Kangas is probably going to pop off in there after all these Braum buffs, so you can go and check that out. But that's it for the video, so remember to like, subscribe, and win some LP before all your champs get nerfed. But then, before I go, I want to show you guys my cat leggings! Cat leggings! Oh, and then also, thanks to all the friends that joined me on Instagram, and we can continue talking about video games. Okay, bye!